Hello everybody, Paul from Halftone Digital here, and I want to show you a quick little bite-sized tutorial about the blend tool in Illustrator and how we like to use it, or I like to use it in different applications, and how it can become helpful in branding and even, certain cases of UI design and things like that. So here is a quick rundown of how this thing works. So I've got kind of a setup example here where I've got two circles, one's bigger than the other, and they're different colors. So the blend tool will basically take two shapes or two items or two anything really, but it can get kind of hairy, and it will try to kind of blend in between them and make the differences kind of cascading between them from one end to the other. So if I select these two shapes here and I go up to Object and I go down to Blend, then I can either make it or I get these blend options. So what I usually do is I go to blend options first, and you get kind of these choices here. You can set how the color will smooth between the two of them. You can choose the number of steps between each of them and the specified distance. I usually mess with the specified steps. That's kind of the one that I usually don't really know what it does, to be honest. So if I hit that and there's 5 steps in between, I can hit OK. Then I have to go back up to Blend, Object Blend, and then hit Make, or the shortcut is Option Command B. And then you hit that, and then boom, we've made a blend. So you can see we're fading from blue all the way to orange, and we're kind of in this blend state now. So we're still in this kind of like live blend mode. So you can really only select these two shapes. You can double click into it like a group, and you can just grab these two shapes and you can kind of mess around with them, and you can do whatever, and you can change them, and you can play with what's in front and what's in back, and it will have kind of this more dramatic effect. And another thing you can do is selecting this object while having it selected in this blend mode. You can go back into those blend options and you can start, you get this preview option now, and you can start messing around, and you can change your choices, and you can make it, you can crank it up super high so it kind of becomes this gradient, and it really, so if we did that, you can select that, and then you can go to Object, Blend, Expand, and you can see that now we have 80 circles in between these two. So if you needed to like figure out each step of a gradient for some reason, or if you zoom in super far, you can probably see that we got kind of these wonky edges just because it is still circles. It's not perfectly smooth. You could possibly expand this. I don't know if you play around with that and see. But so that's kind of a basic introduction of how blend mode works. And then for just a couple of little examples of how I like to use it in other applications. If I have a chunk of text here, so I have my chunk of text. I think it works best, if I remember, when you have it outlined. So I'll create outlines, and so what I'll do here is I'll copy this piece of text. So I have this sitting in my clipboard kind of at all times. And then if I paste it in front, Command F in the same place. And then if I just nudge it over a few places, and I'm going to go up to Object and do Blend Options, Specified Steps. Let's make it like 20 or something. Object, Blend, Make. Okay, then we're starting to make, that's how I make like kind of some 3D shadowy text. So if I take these, let's say if I jump back, so then if I Command F with that type back on top, and then I can make that text, like a light gray or something. And then here we start to have this, kind of simple, easily editable 3D text. You can see we get these jagged edges here. Just from repeating and kind of making this little stair step thing. Maybe that's something we can go Object and Blend Options while we're in this kind of live mode, and we can just hit Preview, and we can just start to crank that up, it's never going to get quite perfect. You're always going to have some little steps in there, I think. I don't know if it's possible to get, super smooth, but what I like to do is I'll expand it. And I'll expand it, and then if you go in here, then we have all of those different, layers of this kind of built in there. But if you just select it all at once, I think you might have to hit Object, Expand again. So we have the whole thing selected, this whole shadow piece selected, and if we go to Pathfinder and we, is it Unite? Unite, yes. Alright, I made it too many things, it's going to take a minute. Okay, and here we have kind of our combined shape. So you can see it's no longer, a million layers of that text on top of each other. It's one combined shape. And then what I like to do is you can double click to get into this, and then you have these, you have all these stair steps in between these, some of these layers. So if you can, just select, I like to direct select that, and then I'll zoom in to the end one and zoom in to the other end and deselect those, and then just delete everything in between. And now I can join between those two. Let's Command J, and we can start to smooth out these pieces. So then it really starts to make a real smooth shadow between these things. So yeah, it's kind of a tedious process, but if you want to make some real true shadows and really be able to kind of see how that text would look and not have to draw those angles perfectly every time, you can kind of get 90% of the way there with just some simple help from our good friend the blend tool. There's a lot of different creative ways you can use this. Something we did with our kind of branding for Clutch, which you can see on our website a little bit more of. I kind of built this ring expander, this ripple as we called it, and it's got kind of this gradient in the background, and it's radiating out from the Clutch button, and you can see it's all still live in here. And you can kind of double click into my clipping mask and into my groups, and it's really like this, so you finally get to this shape and you can really play with it and see how this ripple works. And it's got these steps in between, and it goes from thicker circle, thicker stroke to thinner stroke on the outside, and kind of goes from sort of full opacity to lighter opacity, and it's got this real ripple effect, and that was really easy to make, and it was really pretty effective, and yeah, so there's lots of interesting ways you can use the blend tool, and you can make a million shapes on top of each other, and it's fun to just sometimes select things and have two things and just see how they blend. Sometimes they look crazy. Maybe there's some happy accidents in there. Happy blending. Thank you.